we recommend that people have transparency. Your team should know that you're winning, right? And the way they know that you're winning is that you have a large cash balance, right? They're safe in their company. This is what we're negotiating with the vendors. This is what I'm negotiating with you, so that I and the entire team is safe, right? Because if I don't have this negotiation with you, I'm making an exception, and I don't want to make an exception, Frank. I'm sorry. I'm going to negotiate this with everyone. All of you will be paid 5 days later, because we want to keep more cash, so that if anything bad happens, this is what is going on, etc., etc., right? So all of these are transparent conversations, and we recommend you transparently talk with everyone. This doesn't mean you show them all of your numbers, all of your finances, or things of that nature, but whatever is relevant to them, you can tell them. If you're managing a team internally that, again, isn't dealing with revenue and so on, you can say, hey guys, this is all of our salaries. This is what we make. This is what the team spends, right? And this is the value we're bringing to the company. And the value right now is below what they're paying us. So we're in sort of a danger, right? We need to figure out how we can be more productive, or work on things that add more value to the company, or whatever, so that we are the most lucrative team that this company has ever seen. And guess what? That's how promotions happen, right? That's how you get paid more money. That's how bonuses happen. That's how, recommendation letters, if you want to then go to another company, that's how those happen, right? There's a very good movie, I recommend it. It's called The Devil Wears Prada. It's a story about a woman that has nothing to do with fashion and gets into fashion. And at the end, the owner of the fashion line, or whatever that is, makes a recommendation as a result of that woman wanting a different job somewhere else. And it's a very good story. And that's how you get that level of recommendation, by being dedicated, by learning the craft, by adding more value all the time. Because they weren't that person, and that's why I remember this story. That person was not responsible for revenue, not even a little bit. However, in that movie, if you haven't seen the movie, please go see it. It's just 90 minutes or whatever. In that movie, you can see how them being part of the team and actually wanting to do that, they're a little bit extreme. I might not recommend you being that extreme, but you can see how they find themselves. They understand what's important for them, and who they are and what they want to do. And at the end of that, they leave the company. So they literally don't become like a long-lasting member of that company, because they're literally just not into fashion. They want to do something else. However, and we talk about this in another video, this is what it means to work with superstars, right? That person is a superstar within that company for the 1 year, 2 years, whatever. They work with that company and then they move on. Instead of having mediocre people in the company that stay forever, you're rather off having superstars that stay with you for a few years, and then they say, Robert, you know what? I want to do poetry. I just want to write poetry for life. Fine, go write poetry. Perfectly fine for that. Send me what you write. I'm curious to read, what you come up with, and that's it. If you ever want a job in the future, I can make a recommendation, and we move on. We shake hands and we go from there. Okay. That's basically it on transparency. Please be as transparent as you can with everyone, because people want to know the success that they're part of. If they start using your transparency against you, don't take it personally. It might be how they are, or they just might want to use it as bargaining chips to get a promotion. However, you can say, okay, I'll do this. You've used this as a bargaining chip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put your role up for grabs, like online, and see what people we have as applicants and how much we can replace you for. Because right now I'm paying you this much, and I want to see what else is available on the market of people that can do exactly what it is you do. And then I can tell you from my side, my data. So you have your data of why you think you should be paid 25 instead of 20. And then let me get you my data, and let's see what the numbers look like. Because at the end of the day, I might get whatever you're doing for 15. So I might get a 25% reduction, and what you're doing is you're asking for a 25% increase. So if we put our data together, we might find that you're actually very well paid. And so that's how it's going to stay. These discussions are not easy sometimes, and I want to oversimplify it. I want to make a very clear statement that doing things correctly might not always be the easiest way to do it. However, we're not in the business of easy. Life in general, if you look at Buddhism, for example, there are 4 things in Buddhism, right? The 4 truths of Buddhism. And the first truth of Buddhism is that life is suffering. You might not agree with that, but if you don't agree with that, do your research on why, the Buddha said that all life is suffering, and then you'll understand what it is. And if you look at the other truths as well, you'll see what that means. But basically, as long as you have ambition, as long as you have desire, you will always have a bit of suffering, because desire means that I have $1 million business and I want a $5 million business, let's say, or I have 5 people on my team, I want to manage 50 people on my team, right? Like whatever your career aspirations are in your field, you've never done that before. You have a desire of something that you've never accomplished in life. It's not going to be easy for the simple fact that it requires a different you. You from today don't know how to do that, because if you would already be there. You from today figure out what you think you need to do based on this book and anything else that is relevant for your career, and then you start doing that, like this book, exactly like what we're doing today, right? You take all of these and you start implementing, and as you implement, you'll get better and better and better. And some of these might feel uncomfortable. It might feel uncomfortable to share financials with your team. It might feel uncomfortable to share or to put your foot down when you say, no, we need to make a sale every single day. And if we're not making sales, that's an excuse. What's the excuse? These are the 5 excuses we're coming up with. Okay, what are the solutions for that? We've talked about that a little bit earlier, and I'm bringing it up today. Transparency, focus on it, have transparency in everything, and then people will levitate towards that as you keep giving them more and more and more. Again, I recommended you look into what finances mean and what accounting means and so on and so forth for your sake, so that you are not in the dark whenever another business person or a financial person speaks with you. However, we still recommend working with accountants, business-specific accountants. So accountants that have already done accounting for your business, and you can maybe even get references from. Hey, I've worked with Frank, and he's helped me with my law firm, and I increased my profitability because he helped me with this, he helped me with that, and so on. That's the type of accountant you want to work with. The type of accountant that doesn't just give you numbers, but they can help you save in terms of taxes or anything like that. And so we do recommend that, and that is what we have in terms of the best way of doing it. If you're an accountant yourself, you might still find value in working with an accountant just so that you get an extra pair of eyes, or you just delegate it and you don't have the same person making decisions as the person controlling those decisions, right? So that can be helpful as well.